Hi, I'm Jo Martin from Tattoo Removal Inc. The way I got this started was I retired from a 30-year corporate career, and a friend of mine from church asked me to tutor at the Kenton County Detention Center, and I was very hesitant to do it because I hadn't done any math or geometry or algebra in 30 years, so I was like, or longer. So I really didn't want to do that, but she said fill out the paperwork, so I did, and they called me, and that was 4 years ago. And so I've been tutoring GED subjects ever since. I still tutor at the jail on Thursdays, every Thursday. And while I was tutoring, I noticed that the students had a lot of offensive tattoos on their face and hands and necks. And I was just wondering how they ever going to get a job, because it's just, most employers don't like tattoos, whether it's spoken or unspoken, they don't hire people with tattoos. So I was talking to a friend of mine, and she said there was a priest in California that took off, worked on 900 tattoos a month on gang members. And I thought, wow. So I looked up his website, which was Homeboy Industries, and he was speaking up at Findlay University, which is about 3 hours north of me. So I drove up there and heard him speak. And afterwards, I bought his book, and I talked to him personally. And he gave me his personal business card, and he said, email me. I was like, okay. I told him I tutored at the jail and I was interested in taking off tattoos or something. And he said, email me, and I did. And the next morning, and he said, come to California. I was like, Father, I'm in Kentucky. And he said, email me back, 3 words, come to California. Okay, so I asked my friend, I said, do you want to go to California? She was like, okay, let's go. And so we both flew out there, and we met with them. It was just a wonderful experience. I loved it. I knew I was going to start this. So I came back and I start writing the IRS paperwork, the 1023 form, and it was hard. It took me about 4 months to do it with my friend's help. She and I both worked at AT&T, and she was a big help. So we got approved in 35 days by the IRS, and that's when I really started in earnest to get a board together. I asked my first doctor if she would, she was a retired pediatrician, if she would join the board, and she was immediate yes. And I asked my second doctor, a friend of mine, and he was like, well, let me think about it. So in a week he agreed, and then it just started rolling along. I really didn't even have to do a whole lot after that. I mean, because you know, one person said something to another, and then we ended up with another nurse, and then one of our other nurses, her husband was a CPA, and she volunteered him that to help us, and he was great. And so it was just, after that, it just started happening. I didn't even have to really do anything. And and I had purchased the laser after we got the approval from IRS. My husband passed away 10 years ago, and I had money just sitting there in an insurance, you know, that he left. And so I took some of that money and I bought a laser. And so we trained January 12th of this year, and I had 7 laser techs trained. And so we've been taking off tattoos ever since. It's a kind of a long process. It doesn't happen like getting a tattoo. It takes sometimes 8 to 10 treatments, and they have to be spaced every 6 weeks, so the body has time to filter out the ink. And so we have some that are nearly through the process, and we're putting them up on the website, on Facebook. And it's really rewarding. You know, we love doing it. We love all the folks we deal with, and we think we do a pretty good job of helping people. We also have an education department. That was going to be my 1-year goal, but that happened within 6 months. We have 2 wonderful educators. They can help our students get their GED certification. They can do college certification. We do micro office suites, so they can help people that want to go into office work. They can train them on that. So that was the 1-year goal, but that happened in 6 months. So now my new 1-year goal is to get the money together for another laser and put it in the Kenton County Detention Center, because some of my students are in there for 18 months. So we could conceivably get their tattoos off and then they could come out with their GED and a clean slate, on their face, and and they'd be almost, job ready.
Oh, my name's Steve Payne. I'm a former Anderson resident, actually. I've transplanted now to Northern Kentucky, but lived in Anderson for about 30 or 35 years. I'm in a group with Joe Martin over here in Northern Kentucky, and I had gotten to know her over a couple of years' time, and she came in one evening and said, well, she's starting this nonprofit for tattoo removal. I didn't have any idea what she was talking about, so she explained it to me, and also that she'd already bought the laser, the $60,000 laser, with her own money, and she was looking for a medical director. She had signed up one friend of hers, a retired pediatrician, and I am a primary care internist who was about to retire at that time. Within the next 6 months, I'd planned to retire, so she knew that, and she knew I was going to have some time on my hands. So she took advantage of that, and I wasn't sure at first that I wanted to be involved with it, but she kept telling me about the project, and then one time she was talking to me about it, and I made the mistake of saying, well, I think we should do this, and she picked up on that in a flash and said, you said we. And so I was caught, and I've really enjoyed my involvement with Tattoo Removal Inc., that's INK, and we're on Facebook, and you should all like us on Facebook and share with your friends. But this was a type of person who I just never had any involvement with, our clients. There are a lot of people from jail, and there are people who simply I wouldn't normally hang out with, not because I dislike the people, just because I wouldn't have the opportunity to hang out with people like this. And I've gotten to know some of these people. It's really been an experience. And the tattoo removal is really cool. You get to play with this laser. And this laser runs on 220 volts, which would knock a normal human across the room if they were exposed to it. And it gets focused into a square that is maybe a 1/4 inch square. And so extremely powerful. The reason tattoo ink doesn't ever go away is because the ink particles are too large to be taken up by the body's cleanup system. There are these white blood cells in the body called macrophages that take up debris underneath the skin. They engulf it like Pac-Man, and then they digest it, and the body eventually disposes of it, carries it away. But the ink particles are too big, and so the macrophages try, but they can't get around the particles. What the laser does, it puts this incredible amount of energy into the ink itself. The ink absorbs it, and it immediately superheats that ink underneath the surface and blows it up. It shatters it. You can actually hear a noise when you trigger the laser. You hear a noise from underneath the skin. It sounds like snapping your fingers. And you actually hear that, and that's the ink exploding underneath the surface. After that, the body can engulf the ink particles. They're small enough because they've been blown up. They've been shattered. The body can engulf them and carry them away, which it does gradually over time. So we give 6 weeks in between treatments to give the body a chance to carry the ink away, then we hit it again. That is why tattoo removal is a painful process, because it's superheating that ink underneath the surface. And we would never tell anybody that this isn't going to hurt, because it always hurts for a very short time, but it feels like a lot of people have described it as hot bacon grease splashing on your body at some point, except it keeps splashing and splashing and splashing because the average treatment takes a few minutes to complete. And then the pain gradually goes away. We use a cooler. We blow super cold air onto the area while we're doing it. Some people use an anesthetic cream before the treatments, which helps some. But it's still a painful process. And we know that. The people who come here know it. And a lot of them come back. Most of them come back. There's a few people who have not come back, but most people do come back. And we've really enjoyed doing this. It's been sort of almost a family business, because it's been Joe's friends and then family of Joe's friends and friends of Joe's friends who've done it, and she's the moving force behind it. And you know, this wouldn't exist without her, but those of us who work at it have enjoyed it. It's given me something to do in my retirement. I'm happy. I come in here a few days a week, spend a few hours, and it's just a neat thing. And we've been doing it now for, I think, about 10 months. And so we're really seeing some results. A lot of people have faded very significantly. Some have gone away completely. Most people are on their, anywhere from their 5th to 8th treatment now, and we're seeing really good results. We're getting a feel for how long it's going to take people to resolve these tattoos completely. And I would say the average person, it's going to take them between 9 months and a year to get rid of a tattoo completely. But they're going to go away, and we're seeing real good results. Most people are going to go away without any sign of the tattoo ever having been there. Very few people have had any kind of skin problems from this. It's really working well. Tattoo Removal Inc., INK, is a charity, and it was started as a charity in order to remove tattoos not only from men and women who've been incarcerated, but also from former gang members who have gang tattoos, gang-related tattoos. We have removed some tattoos from various white supremacy gangs, from the Ku Klux Klan. It's real gratifying to be able to remove tattoos like that. We removed quite a few swastikas, and it's just really nice when somebody wants to change their life in that direction, that they want to get rid of those symbols. We also do tattoo removal for money. We do that in order to support the charity, because this thing is relatively expensive to run. And new machines, which we would love to get, cost $60,000 a piece. So we do tattoo removal for money. We think we charge less than the average commercial tattoo removal business out there. We have state-of-the-art equipment, and we know how to use it, so people are getting very good results. But we do encourage anyone who has a tattoo that they'd like to have removed to check us out, and we will be happy to talk to you about the commercial tattoo removal process. And of course, anybody who qualifies, a former gang member, former woman who's been tattooed by her pimp, former incarcerated person, we are here for you. That's why we're here.